Senate summons CBN Governor and SEC DG over ban on cryptocurrency. Federal government enumerates 1.4 million establishments nationwide. Banks borrowing from CBN falls 98%, and oil loses more steam this week. This is Business Express on the network service of the NTA, and we are reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I am Benny Adams, your guide. Good to have you join us at this time. The Senate has resolved to invite the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, and the Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, to brief it on the Apex Bank's ban on cryptocurrency transactions by Nigerian financial institutions. The Senate asked its committees on banking, insurance, and other financial institutions, capital markets, and that of ICT and cybercrime to summon Emefiele and Yuguda. The CBN Governor and DG SEC are expected to brief the panels on the opportunities and threats of the cryptocurrency on the nation's economy.
Aware that the action and directive of the CBN has attracted sharp reactions from Nigerians and has become a topical subject of national discourse.
Bitcoin has made our currency almost useless or valueless.
To invite the CBN Governor for briefing on the opportunities and threats of the cryptocurrency on the nation's economy and security, and to report back findings within 2 weeks.
Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment Adeni Adebayo has advised women to take advantage of the various business intervention programs of the federal government to grow their businesses. The intervention programs include the MSME Survival Fund and 50 billion naira export expansion facility, amongst others. The minister, speaking to members of the Association of Nigerian Women Business Network, said the ministry also has various gender-based programs which can assist them grow their businesses. He advised them to come up with ideas as to where the ministry can assist them take advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. Coordinator of the association, Modupe Oyekunle, submitted that some members of the association lost hundreds of millions to the violence that trailed the EndSARS protests in Lagos last year, and those who are farmers could not access their farmlands due to activities of kidnappers and bandits. Part of plans by the Buhari administration to resuscitate the Nigerian economy is shifting attention to other sectors that would subsequently replace crude oil. Emmanuel Akila reports on how the government is shifting attention to cotton and has intervened to support cotton farmers to increase their productivity.
Cotton farming and processing was once a major sustainer of the Nigerian economy, with ginnery and textile industries providing reasonable opportunities to skilled and unskilled employees. However, with oil boom, cotton production was neglected. The farmers were discouraged and the industry nearly collapsed.
Batun noman auduga ba sabo bane a nan Gombe. An tuna shekaru da yawa
Cotton farming is not new to us. I remember the former Emir of Gombe, Abubakar Umar, who was selected by the then government as a member of the marketing board to determine cotton and groundnut prices. The problems of finance and good markets for cotton farmers are now being taken care of as the government, under the Anko Borrowers Program of the Central Bank of Nigeria, is providing capital to cotton farmers. The result of the CBN intervention has brought back revival in cotton production, and the long-forgotten cotton pyramids are back.
So you can see the quantity now, a very large quantity of cotton. They are still bringing, they have not finished bringing because we have just started. So the effort made by the government, by the CBN at the federal level, and also by the state government ensuring production of this season and the security, I think has affected the production.
The CBN plan also takes care of the marketing difficulties faced by farmers, as local ginneries and textile industries have also been captured in the plan.
How do we take this Anko Borrowers Program scheme to the CTG sector? Well, that's been done already by the CBN. Like I said, it's a value chain intervention. As they supported the farmers with input financing, likewise they supported the ginneries, giving them cheap funding to be able to buy from the farmers.
The federal government, through the Central Bank of Nigeria, believe that it is a time for us to be able to provide the sufficient cotton necessary for our consumption.
Gombe cotton is one of the best as far as cotton in the world in terms of fiber strength. In fact, it does signify the beginning of its season at the Liverpool, which is the International Cotton Center. So that is what we are aiming at the moment.
The cotton pyramids are the harvest of the last wet season farming, which the CBN is collecting from the farmers across the country to supply local ginneries.
To talk more on the cotton value chain, I have with me Professor of Chemistry, Olufemi Somonu.
Yes,
Did I get it correct?
You did get it right.
Thank you very much. And to my left, I have the President of the Cotton Farmers Association of Nigeria, in person of Anibe Achimogu.
All right. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, let me start with you.
Yes.
How it's been since 2019, you've been working with the CBN to ensure that cotton production is back to stay and progress is made in that light. I remember I was with you in a particular community in FCT where some of the seedlings and fertilizers were distributed. How far from then to now? What is the production like?
Well, thank you very much. I would like to say that before we actually started or participated in the Anko Borrowers Program of the Central Bank of Nigeria, in 2018, we would say that cotton production at that time was at 80,000 metric tons or less. But with our participation in the Anko Borrowers Program of the Central Bank, in 2019, we were able to produce a total of about 125,000 metric tons. Now, we are currently harvesting because the program also continued into the 2020 wet season. So we are projecting to have at least 136,000 metric tons.
Okay, Prof, we're looking at the projection of 136 metric tons from what the President has said. In 2019, they have cultivated 125,000 metric tons. Can you tell us the value of cotton in the textile industry as it is?
Thank you very much. Cotton occupies a very significant position in the cotton, textile, and garment value chain. Being the starting material, obviously there are other fibers, man-made fibers, even wool in other countries. But for most parts of the world, especially the unique properties of cotton, means that it occupies the central position in textile and also in garment production. So for us as a country, we need to see how much we can do to improve cotton production in Nigeria.
Prof, let's start with The material you're wearing, is it made of cotton or polymer? I know you're a professor of polymer and fiber.
Yes.
Is it polymer or cotton?
Most of these, we do what we call cheddar now, they contain cotton and some percentages of man-made fibers. But for manufacturers in many parts of the world, they will tell you it's 100% cotton, but usually it's not. But the greater proportion is cotton, and that's why it's comfortable. It breathes. That is, it allows moisture in and also sweat to come out.
A lot of fabric we have today, a lot of stuff we wear are not made of cotton. Though you've said the producers, manufacturers will tell you this is 100% cotton, but you just realize that there's some a lot of chemical components to it.
Yes.
And some have argued that if we are going 100% cotton, a lot of Nigerians will not be able to afford it. How true is that?
That is not true. In fact, for us, I had some years in the industry, textile industry, after graduating. The cotton that we use for our African print, wax print, they're 100% cotton. And they're comfortable and they're easy to produce. In fact, in terms of cost, they're actually cheaper to produce in Nigeria. And virtually everybody can afford it. So it's not true.
Okay, Mr. Achimugu, what would you say is the collaboration between the ginneries and the textile manufacturers? There needs to be coordination from the farmer to the ginnery to the manufacturer.
Well, thank you very much. I think so far that collaboration has been initiated under this program. I always say that this program is not just input financing to our farmers, but it's a CTG intervention, cotton, textile, and garment sector intervention. Now, what has happened with that, obviously, is that the farmers, NACOTAN, have been able to be linked to ginning companies that have indicated interest to participate in the program. So the cotton obviously goes to them, they process, and they also have been linked to spinners or textile companies, and they also offtake from the ginners, and likewise provide to the garmenting companies and so on. And what CBN also did was to link the uniform services or tie the uniform services of Nigeria to the program, so that obviously sourcing their fabrics will be from these companies and obviously Nigerian cotton.
Okay, how would you assess the production level around the FCT? I know it's a program that just started not long.
Yes.
I remember some of the testaments we got on the field, which you were there, is that they are trying to go into this cotton farming because of the intervention from the CBN. Exactly. Because they only heard of how it's been done by their forefathers, grandfathers, to a great extent. So how would you assess capacity building to productivity to the soil being what is needed for cotton to actually thrive?
Well, you know what we did? We just didn't want to jump into it, so to speak. What we have done is to provide, and the program has allowed us to provide training, to provide the specific inputs that is required by each farmer for at least 1 hectare of cotton farm. We've done the soil test. We provided with good seedling, which is very important, planting material. And yes, it's the first time, and we're not expecting anything magical from this experience. This is the first season, but I would say that they've done relatively well. Unfortunately, in as much as we have done our projections of 136,000 metric tons for this season, we did experience drought, which of course the FCT also experienced. Unfortunately, we had some incidences of headsmen raiding our farms and so on and so forth, and then flash flooding, maybe not in the FCT but in other states. So obviously that would affect the expectations. But we also, and I must say that we tried, considering the lockdown that we experienced in the FCT particularly, and some Lagos, and I think as well. Total lockdown where we couldn't even go into the CBN building to continue with our plans for the season and all that. That disrupted. So there was a bit of a delay in terms of meeting the planting window. But significantly is a work in progress. We're happy with what is happening at the moment, and we believe that if we start early for the coming 2021 wet season, we will achieve first.
Okay, back to you now, Prof. 19 billion naira has been invested since 2019 by the CBN. How would you assess this intervention? Is it okay? Do we need more, and why, if we need more?
I think there may be a need to increase a little bit more. Previous interventions, especially 100 billion that was given to CTG, not to cotton sector, trickled down, but it wasn't enough. And from the importance of cotton to the CTG, I think the more we can invest in it, the more we will expect, and the more we will also get what we are saying, revitalization of the cotton, textile, and garment sector. And I also think that if you do a program like this new program from 19 to 20 and then 21, you need to do it a little bit long so that the positive effect you get, you will actually get it, so that you don't do it halfway and look at it as if you have failed. The best thing is to do it, and if possible, if funds can be made available, increase the funding, and then you will reap the benefits.
Okay, talking about funding, the cotton per ton now is less than $100. Are you okay with such pricing?
I'm not totally okay, but I know for a truth that the price of cotton in different parts of the world is related to the quality you have. And therefore, if we can sufficiently improve our own quality, then we stand to be able to compete favorably with other countries. I'm sure you know that cotton is growing in a large number of countries, both tropical, subtropical, even the temperate parts.
So that is still there is competition.
There is competition.
Okay, Achimugu, talking about pricing and quality, where are we and where should we go from here? Courtesy, we have the African continental market that has come up. There is competition. Like Prof said, a lot of countries are into cotton production. So the quality determines the price. What is our quality today? Are you okay with the pricing? And what should we do moving from here?
First and foremost, I'll make a correction that a ton of cotton today in the international market cannot be less than $800, $900 per ton.
It's $1,000, not $100.
Yes. So upwards of that to be the minimum. And I think that cotton, of course, we are trading in weight, but more so cotton is traded via quality. Now, for us as a country, with the intervention of this APB, input financing, we are addressing quality. We're addressing quality in the first instance. The perception of Nigerian cotton in the international market is that of a negative perception. In fact, when you are trading Nigerian cotton, it is actually referred to as nomad. And the reason for that is that, unfortunately, because of the fact that we have not maybe coordinated effectively in terms of the inputs that we're using.
What is the number of tons exports as we have letters? Do you have the figures?
No, I won't be able to tell you that.
There is an improved rate.
Yes, there is. In fact, the figures that I've told you about production is what NACOTAN has been able to do within itself. But let's not forget that there are other farmers outside of the association. So if I tell you today that NACOTAN has done 100,000 metric tons, then believe you me, there's another 50,000 or 80,000.
To be a central coordination.
Exactly.
For these figures
To
get
yes, and we're working on that.
Anibe Achimugu, President Cotton Farmers Association of Nigeria. Thanks for finding time to be with us and to share your thoughts on the cotton value chain.
Thank you very much.
Professor Emeritus Olufemi Somonu.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure having you.
Thank you
we
very
hope
much.
to have you again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much. Well, moving on. With COVID-19 affecting all sectors of the economy, stakeholders say it has become more expedient to ensure that policymakers get adequate, reliable, and accurate data to take policy decisions that will affect the economy. It is in view of this that the federal government, through the National Bureau of Statistics and its ongoing National Business Sample Survey, is canvassing cooperation of small and medium-scale businesses for the survey. Statistician General of the Federation, Yemi Kali, says a survey like this is extremely invaluable to designing and planning for the post-COVID-19 long-term growth and development of the private sector in Nigeria.
There is no problem that Nigeria faces that can be adequately solved without looking at the data, because the data tells you exactly what the problem is and also provides solutions, gives suggestions how that problem can be solved. This exercise will also serve as a significant input to the next GDP rebasing, which will move the current 2010 base year to a new base year of 2019. However, I want to state that the GDP rebasing isn't planned till later in 2021.
The survey is second part of National Business Sample Census 2020 and 2021, which started in October last year when 1.4 million business establishments nationwide were listed. 20,000 establishments have been selected across 17 broad economic sectors for sampling. It's a long losing day on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. From the figures we have, the market has continued to bleed with minus 1.40%. ASI closed at 40,439.85. We have a volume of stocks that exchange hands as 395.6 million, valued at 5.1 billion naira, exchange in 5,321 days. Market capitalization was 21.1 trillion. Well, that's update on the stock market as the markets continue to bleed from the beginning of the month till now. Well, still talking stocks, shares dipped on Friday as investors awaited progress towards more U.S. fiscal stimulus. Nneka Oko has a review of the last trading day of the week.
In Asia, shares in Australia and Japan struggled for gains on Friday, where trading volume was relatively low as many markets in the region are closed for the start of the Lunar New Year holiday. Japanese markets resumed trading after being closed Thursday for a public holiday. The Nikkei 225 declined 0.14% to 29,520.07, while the Shanghai Composite climbed 1.43% to 3,655.09. European stocks retreated slightly on Friday. Germany's DAX depreciated by 0.68% to 13,943.97. London's FTSE 0.42% to 6,501.04, while CAC 40 of France declined by 0.46% to 5,643.90. Stocks tied to major U.S. equity benchmarks edged lower in early trading on Friday as Wall Street looked set to wrap up the week with modest gains. Stocks in Africa closed the week on a positive note. South Africa JSE top 40 0.20%. Kenya's Nairobi oil share climbed 2.46%. Tunisia's Tunidex and Ghana's GSE gained 0.20 and 1.23%. And that's the global market segment. I'm Nneka Oko.
OPEC monthly oil market report indicates crude oil prices rose firmly in January along with a steady rise in futures markets. Major physical crude benchmarks increased about 10% month-on-month on improving market fundamentals, particularly the prospect of tighter crude supply and the declining trend in global oil stocks. The OPEC reference basket gained $5.21 to average $54.38 per barrel. The futures price structure for the Brent, West Texas Intermediate, crude oil, and Dubai markets was sustained. Evidence that the global oil market is improving. The report added that refinery margins improved globally in January with complex configurations benefiting the most, and this is backed by improved performance at the top of the barrel. Meanwhile, in Asia, robust performance at the light end of the barrel filtered through gasoline markets, offsetting the poor performance registered across the middle and bottom sections of the barrel. Rates from West Africa picked up. A host of factors have weighed on freight rates, including the lingering impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic on the consumption and reduced supplies of the market. The OPEC monthly oil market report says early indications expect crude oil imports to rebound in February as independents make use of a fresh round of import quotas. This is where we end this episode of the program. Don't forget you can access this and all previous episodes on YouTube. You can also communicate with us on Twitter. The handle is NTA News Now. The hashtag is BizX. Join us again next week. Until then, stay safe. I am Benny Adams.